Welcome to the PastGlimpse Photos channel.
Subscribe to the channel and like the video. Light at the end of the tunnel. In a deep bomb shelter, a woman takes care of a child on a bunk bed. Stone walls and low ceilings create an atmosphere of isolation. It is an intimate, touching moment of caring that has become a reality for millions of civilians during the war. Germany, 1941. Against the background of the war, life goes on. People rush to the UFA cinema. The poster features a propaganda film, Riding for Germany. Art is a weapon here. It serves to strengthen the national spirit and maintain the iron will of the nation, even when the front is raging in the east. The Mother Armenia Monument in Yerevan, a colossal female figure symbolizing the nation's power and resilience. Sun rays pierce through the trees, bathing the monumental steps in light. Erected in 1967, the statue stands guard over the city, an eternal symbol ready to defend the nation. On August 15, 1945, during the celebration of victory over Japan Day in the city, an enthusiastic digger stands in front of a crowd lined up along Swanston Street, waving flags against a backdrop of banners. Even though this man was retired in 1944, former Private V301056 Melbourne Burke Saunders, 22nd Employment Company, donned his uniform and went to the city to participate in the celebrations. Off-duty in Tel Aviv, a group portrait of 5 individuals in military uniform, standing by a railing, presumably at a beach in Tel Aviv, Palestine, Israel. This image is one of the photographs from the album of Sister Isabel Erskine Plant, a nurse with the 7th Australian General Hospital who served in the Middle East region during World War II. A close-up shot of one of the 19 figures depicting infantrymen on patrol. They are part of the Korean War Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., symbolizing the sacrifice and resilience of American soldiers in the conflict. The autumnal trees in the background add a melancholic atmosphere. A monochrome image showing 2 small children peering out from behind a stack of roughly hewn stones or bricks. Their gazes, directed directly at the camera, evoke a strong sense of curiosity and vulnerability against the background of a harsh, working environment. A monochrome photo from 1918 captures a young worker at a factory at the height of the First World War. He concentrates on operating a lathe, manufacturing critical parts, probably for aircraft or military engines, supporting his country's military production. On the famous Ellis Island in the early 20th century, an immigration officer talks to a family who has just disembarked from a ship. This image captures the first steps of millions of European immigrants to the United States, filled with uncertainty and a desire for a new life. On the famous Ellis Island in the early 20th century, an immigration officer talks to a family who has just disembarked from a ship. This image captures the first steps of millions of European immigrants to the United States, filled with uncertainty and a desire for a new life. Scottish Highlanders in kilts and with rifles are sitting in a narrow trench of the First World War, cowering from enemy fire. One of the soldiers shares space with a mascot dog. This rare shot shows the harsh but cohesive life on the front line. A powerful black and white shot of the Civil Rights March in Washington. African-American demonstrators carry placards demanding equal rights and freedom, marching for desegregation of schools and decent housing, embodying the spirit of the struggle of the 1960s.
This historic image is from the Castle Bromwich aircraft factory in Birmingham during World War II. Here, we see a Supermarine Spitfire, the fighter that became a symbol of British resistance. This aircraft, serial number RK889 and named Edmonton II, was one of thousands built by Vickers to defend the skies.
This dynamic black and white image from World War II captures a flight of Curtiss P-40 Kitty Hawk fighters from No. 77 Squadron of the Royal Australian Air Force. The aircraft, recognizable by their distinct shapes, are seen patrolling high above the clouds in the Pacific Theater. These rugged Kitty Hawks were the backbone of Australian fighter defense, protecting Darwin and supporting campaigns in New Guinea. This atmospheric black and white photo captures participants in the ancient alpine custom of Perchtenlauf, the Perchten Run, during winter. In the foreground, a group of people in traditional folk costumes walks across the snow. One figure stands out with a long coat and thick beard, while another wears a massive, richly decorated headdress, likely representing a Schoenpercht, beautiful Percht, who brings good luck and drives out winter spirits. This historical photograph from World War I shows a German crew operating the heavy 21-centimeter Mercer 16 howitzer. These 211mm Krupp-designed guns were a direct response to the demands of trench warfare. They were intended for destroying enemy trenches and fortifications, making them a critical piece of German artillery. The picture shows the construction of the Boki Creek Railway Bridge in Australia. This is a vivid example of engineering projects of the late 19th, early 20th century. A temporary wooden trestle stands on partially completed stone pillars, along which a steam locomotive passes, which underlines the complexity and scope of construction in those years. This 1940s photo captures a company's Christmas picnic. Workers dressed as Santa Claus stand beside decorated delivery trucks outside an industrial plant, celebrating the holiday season with festive spirit and teamwork. This 1961 photo captures the grand procession at the state opening of Parliament in London. Mounted guards in red uniforms and plumed helmets parade through the streets as crowds gather to witness the centuries-old royal ceremony. A rare World War I photograph of soldiers hiding in an underground dugout. The image shows the harsh conditions of trench warfare, where soldiers sought protection from artillery fire. In the frame, officers and enlisted men can be seen resting on hastily put together wooden bunks. A gloomy, low-contrast snapshot of a mass cemetery or a mass gravesite. Strict rows of low grave mounds and rough concrete pillars create a heavy atmosphere. This image symbolizes the enormous human losses and pain associated with the wars and conflicts of the 20th century. This black and white photo, taken around 1942, captures Sister Isabel Erskine Plant, a nurse at the 7th Australian Hospital, with a group of colleagues on a field trip to Egypt. Against the background of the Pyramid of Cheops and the Sphinx, there are women in uniform, one of them riding a camel. The picture reflects the short moments of rest of the military personnel away from the front of the Second World War. A picture from the beginning of the 20th century from the Carnival of VIMI in Petona. A group in white costumes of Pierrot, a traditional melancholic character of the European theater, usually longing for love. The scene where one of the Pierrots stealthily watches a woman read a love letter vividly conveys the theme of unrequited love inherent in this classic commedia dell'arte image. Historical snapshot, 1867 to 1871. Camp at the gates of Jaffa in Jerusalem, Palestine. A spontaneous market of reed tents is located against the backdrop of powerful Ottoman walls and a minaret. This bustling scene reflects the life and trade that was going on outside the Old Town at the end of the 19th century.
This historic photo shows crowds of men scaling a tall wooden fence to watch the 1912 World Series in Boston. With tickets sold out, eager fans climbed the outfield wall for a glimpse of the game, an early sign of baseball's growing popularity in America.
A historical photograph, probably from the late 19th century, captured the ruins of the ancient Egyptian temple of Kardassi in Nubia. The image shows its monumental architecture, with capitals stylized as the head of the goddess Hathor, and highlights the interest of European researchers in ancient civilizations.
A powerful shot by Cristina Garcia Rodero, capturing the climax of a summer festival. In sheets of pouring water, three figures, the man leading the bull and two riding it, merge in one dynamic motion. The raw emotion on their faces, from strain to ecstasy, conveys the wild, untamed energy of Spanish folk traditions.
On the black sands of Iceland lies a legend, the wreckage of a DC-3 that crashed in 1973. This shot captures more than just debris. It's a symbol of solitude and the beauty of decay. Against the harsh sky, the metal carcass of the plane stands as a stark, compelling monument in the wilderness.
The era of mass deployment. A long line of fully equipped soldiers prepares to board a troop transport ship. This captures the moment of farewell to home soil. Tension is palpable in their rigid formation and the long wait before the vessel carries them away to the battlefields that would change the world. This shot from the Segusino Church, ravaged in World War I, is a symbol of suffering. The building's debris covers the ground, yet the central sculpture, the Pietà, remains intact. It stands amidst the wreckage as an eternal icon of grief and the resilience of faith in the face of total destruction. This photo is a raw testament to World War I. Gurkhas, some of the empire's most fearless soldiers, rush from the cover of the woods to attack a German trench. Their determined charge, distinctive hats, and heavy gear highlight the ferocity and speed of the assault amid the brutal reality of trench warfare. The monumental Geschwend Fort, a stone giant built by Austria-Hungary for defense in the First World War. Its massive, cracked walls loom over two soldiers, emphasizing the insignificance of man in the face of war. This frame is a harsh symbol of militaristic power and unrelenting loneliness.
In the Trentino Mountains, 1918, Archduke Leopold Salvatore of Austria comes out of his mountain bunker. The picture shows the monarch in the field. He inspects the fortifications cut into the rocks. The shot highlights the harsh, rocky reality of war in high-altitude positions.
The monochrome silence of Auschwitz. A double row of barbed wire extends into the misty sky, closing a narrow, gravel-strewn corridor. This road leads into the abyss of history, and the rows of barracks on the sides serve as an eternal, mournful monument to the millions of victims whose lives ended behind these walls.
Germany, 1946. Displaced people who have lost their homes and homeland are queuing for humanitarian aid. The contrast between the gloomy, shabby carriages and the hope of food in the hands of a volunteer highlights the fragility of life. This scene is a difficult but important portrait of the rebuilding of Europe.
Strength and unity. Australian nurses from the 7th Hospital, including Sister Isabel Plant, march in a single formation around 1942. Their determined faces in uniform symbolize the contribution of women to victory and demonstrate the iron discipline necessary to save lives at the front of the Second World War.
The gloomy silence of the hospital. The children,
wrapped in sheets, lie in the focus of the only light source. This lamp is their only artificial sun, providing vital warmth. Under the watchful eyes of the nurses, a silent battle of early medicine is unfolding for every breath, for every fragile glimmer of life.
Pea soup or cocoa. Longueval, France, World War I, December 1916. Taken in December 1916, just after the brutal Somme offensive, 1st July to 18th November, in the wooded area north of the Somme River. The mud of the ruined terrain covers the men and the small buffet station. A sense of humor is present in the cynical joke, pea soup or cocoa, a dry comment on the quality of the limited food and drink available to troops at the front line. Soldiers wrote with detail on food and drink conditions on the front.
Berlin, April 1945. Heavy Soviet artillery fires on enemy positions amidst the city's ruins. Gunsmoke billows, obscuring the shattered building facades. This shot embodies the final, most brutal days of the war, where every meter of the city was transformed into a deadly battlefield.
London, 1940. Against the backdrop of devastation caused by the Blitz bombings, a woman in an elegant suit and hat calmly walks past a heap of rubble to mail a letter. Sir Cecil Beaton captured the quintessence of British resilience, unbroken daily life amidst the ruins of war.